Free versus paid sounds like a simple question, but it's not really about money. It's about friction. Free tools can be amazing, paid tools can be a waste. The difference isn't paid is better. The difference is what you're paying to remove. Because if you're using AI in real life, content, work, planning, editing, you're not paying for magic. You're paying for reliability, speed, and fewer steps between you and a finished result. So let's make this practical. Not a list of brands, the real differences that show up when you actually use the tools. Difference number one, limits. Free tools almost always have limits, usage cap, slower queues, shorter outputs, fewer exports, or lower quality modes. Now, that doesn't mean they're useless. It means you have to build around the limits. If you only need a few runs per week, free might be perfect. If you're producing daily, limits become a tax you pay in time and frustration. And here's the sneaky part. Limits don't just cost time, they break momentum. You're in a flow, you hit a cap, and now you're searching for alternatives, signing up for another tool, resetting your work. That's how you lose an hour. Difference number two, consistency. Free tiers often rotate models, restrict features, or give you variable results depending on load. One day it's great, next day it's weird. Paid tiers usually give you more stable access, and that matters when you're building a process. If you're trying to publish weekly, you need the tool to behave the same way every time. Difference number three, workflow features. This is where paid starts to matter. Free tools often do one thing well: generate text, generate an image, remove a background. Paid tools tend to connect steps: templates, brand kits, saved styles, bulk exports, project history, versioning, team features. Those aren't flashy, but they remove repeated work. In other words, free tools help you create, paid tools help you produce. Difference number four, output control. When you want something to match a vibe, your toolbox style, your pacing, your structure, you need control. Free tools can give you raw output, but they often limit fine tuning, longer context, better editing, stronger instruction following, better voice stability, better lip sync, higher quality export. Paid tiers usually give you the knobs, and the knobs are what turn AI from a toy into a tool. Difference number five, support and risk. If you're using a tool for hobby stuff, support doesn't matter. If you're using it for a channel, it matters. When something breaks, paid products tend to have better support, clearer docs, and fewer mystery changes. Free tools can vanish, change terms, or throttle you without warning. Now, here's the mistake people make. They buy paid tools too early. They buy 5 subscriptions before they've built one repeatable workflow. Then they're paying money and still stuck because tools don't create process. Process creates leverage. So the right way to think about free versus paid is not which tools are best. It's what's the bottleneck in your workflow? If the bottleneck is writing, paying for a good writing model might help. If the bottleneck is voice, paying for stable voice might help. If the bottleneck is editing, paying for a faster editor might help. If the bottleneck is avatar minutes, paying for a plan with included minutes might help. But if the bottleneck is that you don't have a system, buying tools just gives you more buttons to press. So here's a simple rule you can use today. Only pay to remove the bottleneck you hit every single week. If you don't hit it weekly, you're not buying leverage, you're buying hope. In the next part, I'll give you the toolbox stack approach, how to decide which parts should be free, which parts should be paid, and how to keep your monthly spend low while still producing consistently. Part 2. Here's how to build a cheap, reliable toolbox stack without getting subscription fatigue. Step 1. Identify your 3 core steps. For most content workflows, it's writing, voice, editing. Everything else is optional. Step 2. Make 2 steps free and pay for 1. This is the simplest strategy to keep costs down. If you pay for everything, you'll feel pressure to use it and you'll overcomplicate. If you pay for one bottleneck, you get leverage without chaos. Now let's map this to real life. Writing, free can work. If you can write a good outline, free tools can handle drafts. But if you need longer context, better consistency, or fewer rewrites, paid can save time. The real value is not better words, it's fewer iterations. Voice, free is often the first upgrade. Voice is where cheap workflows get stuck. A stable voice that doesn't glitch, doesn't mispronounce constantly, and doesn't require re-records saves you time every single video. That's why many creators pay for voice early. Editing, free can work, but speed costs money. You can edit in free tools, but if your editor is slow or your device struggles, that's a hidden cost. Paying for an editor isn't about features, it's about how fast you can produce. Now, the big one, avatars. Avatars look flashy, but they're often the most expensive part of an AI workflow. If you're paying per minute, it adds up fast. That's why most cheap avatar channels either use the avatar for the hook only or they use a plan that includes minutes. So if avatars are your bottleneck, don't pay per export if you can avoid it. Either limit avatar time or choose a plan that makes longer videos predictable. Here's the toolbox rule for spending. Pay where time repeats. If a tool saves you 10 minutes once, that's not worth the subscription. If it saves you 10 minutes every day, that's leverage. Now, how do you decide when to upgrade? Track two numbers for 1 week, how many times you hit a limit, how much time you lose because of it. If you hit the limit 3 times and lose an hour, that's your bottleneck. If you never hit the limit, don't pay. And here's a warning. Paid tools can create hidden work. More features means more decisions. More options means more tinkering. If you're someone who gets decision fatigue, your stack should be boring. The best stack is the one you don't think about. So the ideal setup is one writing tool, one voice tool, one editor, everything else only if it's proven. And that's the real difference between free and paid, not quality. Consistency. A workflow that works the same way every time is worth more than the best tool used randomly. So if you're building a channel, keep it simple, use free until you hit a weekly bottleneck, then pay to remove that bottleneck. One subscription at a time. That's how you keep costs low and output high without drowning in tools.